we're not really in the clothing business, we're in the hospitality business. And we want people to be able to come in and not feel like they have to shop.
What you and your, family have built to go on for the next generation and the next and the next. You've systematized learning in order to run the business. That's amazing.
Very special. And it's something that if anyone in any industry wants to have, it's probably it's the top 5 most important things that we have in our business.
This episode of Main Street Matters is brought to you by Wood Underwear, Marchesi Ginfrati Neckwear, and Inspiro Tequila. I'm your host, Terresa Zimmerman. Welcome to Main Street Matters. Today I've got Lindsay Morton Gaiser, President and second generation owner of Andrisen Morton in Denver, Colorado. Welcome, Lindsay. Thank you for being on.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here. Thank you for including me.
I told you I was super excited to have you on. You're my first female guest.
Yay!
So that's something.
That is awesome. Thank you.
We gotta get some badass women on
here.
That's
an honor.
So we'll dive right in. Can you start by just telling us a little bit about Andrisen Morton?
Sure. We are a men's clothing store, high-end luxury men's clothing store in Cherry Creek North in Denver, Colorado. And we've been around for 45 years now. The company was founded the year I was born, so not that I'm giving away my age. And my father and his business partner founded the company, and we have always been luxury. We've always had menswear. We had a moment in time where we did some women's. We had a women's store as well. And we've had just a rich family history of just being in the retail world and selling clothing and expensive clothes to people in Denver and all across the country, really.
Cool. So is your dad still involved?
He is. He is here pretty much every morning, and he's in sort of an advisory role now, and he sits down with us every month and looks at our financials. And yes, it's great to have him. I can call him for anything, and he will still be wrapping presents in the month of December. That is his favorite thing to do.
You got to keep him busy.
Yeah, exactly. And he loves it. So that's his job.
And how did he decide to start the store? How did he and his business partner decide to do this? Is that further back in your family history?
Well, so Craig Andrisen and then Craig, so the Andrisen and the Morton, Craig Andrisen and Dave Morton, they actually were young. Craig's, I think, 3 years older than my dad. And they were young, working in retail at a store in Boulder. And they sort of decided, to heck with this, we're going to go and do our own thing. And they got some help from Craig's then father-in-law, financial help. And they went in and they resigned from the store. And they thought maybe they'd have another 2 weeks. And the guy said, "See ya, you're done. Go figure it out. If you're going to go start another store, you got to get out of here." And kind of the rest is history. They started out in downtown Denver, which used to be just a wonderful place for businesses like any of our downtowns. Things have changed now, but they started down there and were there for many years. And then we relocated in 96. So they are...
To your current location? You've been in your current location since 96?
Yes. So wow, that's great. Yes, so they are, they're legends. They're the ones that have given us this great legacy to carry on. And, we just hope that we do a good job for them every single day. So they're the foundation and the reason that we're all here now.
Tell us about your customer. Who's your customer today? And then I want to know about, how did that customer change over the years? Because I'm sure your dad and Craig Andrisen didn't start out in, full luxury at the top of the...
Yeah, top. It's funny because they actually always stood for luxury, but luxury looked a lot different back then. Rep ties were, he'll kill me, but I think they were like $59, and suits were $200 and $300. In fact, I wish I had some of that. We have like old ads and archives from when they started, which is really fun to look at just because of all the price tags on everything. But our customer is, we have a very, very loyal customer. We have a multi-generational customer. We have, dads and grandfathers and sons and grandchildren that come here. Now, I would say the, kind of age of our customer is very, very wide. We have, young men that come in that shop, certain kind of opening price points. And then also we have people who are retired that still want to come in and buy sportswear and kind of everything in between. Denver has grown significantly over the years. And so we've gotten a lot of wonderful new clients that have come in that are young and just really like the experience here. So it's exciting. And we have all different occupations. We've got financial guys, real estate guys, attorneys, doctors, you name it, they come in and so our customer is very special to us. They're what makes our store who we are today. So
yeah. That's great. And I hear that. I mean, that's the benefit of independent retail, right? It's relationship driven and relationship based. And that's what I love about it. So your customer base, have you noticed a change, or could you talk about a change over it's decades? So
yeah, I think, if you're talking about the customer, they themselves haven't really changed, but their needs and wants have changed.
Okay.
So I would say, back when the company was founded, it was very tailored clothing. It was all suits, mostly suits, and some sport coats, and people working downtown, people having their careers downtown, and downtown where were law offices, financial offices, real estate, anything that was downtown. And, it was walkable, very much like New York on a much, much smaller scale. So that's sort of what people wanted then. And as time has evolved, and I think some of the biggest changes have been kind of during COVID and just sort of like once we came out of COVID, where the demand was and how we had to pivot into certain categories that we hadn't had before. When I joined the business, our tailored clothing business was 75% of our business.
Wow. Okay. How long ago was that?
That was in 2007.
Okay.
So it is now 40% tailored clothing and 60% sportswear. And it goes, it kind of goes 50-50 sometimes too, but it's interesting to kind of watch how it's really changed and kind of what people wear and what customers want.
Yeah. How much do you feel like you're driving what your customers' tastes are doing because you're seeing other parts of, the United States and what other stores are doing, and how much are they coming to you? Does that happen?
Well, yes, it does. We try really hard to stay very, very relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And provide kind of the newest, latest, greatest, particularly in Italian men's fashion. It's something that we pride ourselves on. Really, our store is about 90% Italian vendors.
Wow.
And so we try really hard to curate lines and bring lines in that are, have a story behind them, are, much like just that story, the people behind it, that's what people love. And so that's something that we try really, really hard to do. And hopefully, we hope, that's always our hope, is it sets us apart.
Yeah. Well, and who can fault the Italians, right?
Right.
Right. Yeah.
They just do everything better.
It makes me, the Italian section is what makes me happy to go to trade shows mostly.
Yeah. It's amazing what they do. Yeah. And, I had never been to Italy before, and I went, now we're going to Milan to buy for the store. And it was so inspiring. So I'm sure you as a designer and somebody who has their own line, like, it's got to be extremely inspiring for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, and just personally, they're just so fun to be around.
Wonderful.
So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So do you normally buy from the Italians in the US, or because you said you're now going to Milan? Is this your first trip to Milan to buy direct?
I do both.
Oh, both.
Yes. Okay. So Milan is Our big collections, Xenia, Cucinelli,
Yeah.
Canali, Keton, Isaiah. So those
Mm-hmm.
are our big collections that we have in the store. So those are the ones that we really go there to buy. But then we buy other sportswear lines there too that do very well for us.
It sounds like the Italian part of what you do is really what makes Andrisen Morton special. But if you looked more broadly beyond that, if you had to decide like what makes Andrisen Morton, what would your customers say? Maybe you've asked them already. I don't know.
We sent out a survey like about a year ago. We sent out a survey, and people, our customers love our people.
Mm.
They can get Cucinelli anywhere.
Yeah.
And right. But
Yeah.
they can go on their phone and shop Canali and they can get whatever they want. But one of the most rewarding things for us, particularly in this last survey that we sent out, is just the love for coming in, our culture and our people. And that makes me so, so proud. So proud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we have special people who love what they do and love our customers and love clothes. And it's fun to watch. Really fun.
And have they been with you a long time? I mean, are you you have a pretty steady staff?
Yes, we have tailors who knew me when I was a newborn that are still here.
Oh, okay.
We have sellers on our floor that have been here for 20 plus years. Yes, we're so, so fortunate. So fortunate.
And how about bringing new staff in? How does that work for you?
We just hired a wonderful woman that came from the restaurant industry, and she's been such a fun addition to our floor because, she's a woman in a man's world, but she's wonderful. She's just fits right in, and we love hiring people from the hospitality industry because we believe here, as I'm sure many others do, that we're not really in the clothing business, we're in the hospitality business. And we want people to be able to come in and not feel like they have to shop. Grab a cappuccino, go walk around. We have a brand new Cucinelli shop in the store. There's big couches and places to sit and go back there and enjoy. You don't feel like you need to shop here. Our culture is very, very laid back. And it will always be that way because life is too short to be snooty about anything.
Agreed. And being able to be in a relaxed environment and take a breath or two has got to do wonders for sales for you too.
Yes, it does.
Rather than rushing somebody through.
Yes. And we have customers that come in they come in every Saturday and, they bring their dog and we love that. We want that. We want more of that. Yeah. That's what we want.
Just to say, hey, and what's going on? And maybe I'll, buy a suit.
Yeah. And if not, that's okay. You know where we live.
That's great. Yeah. That's great. Okay, so let's get into tools. You talked about surveys. You do a regular survey with customers?
We do one about once a year. Mm-hmm. And it's always kind of has an incentive behind it. If you fill out the survey, you get 15% off your purchase, things like that. So we do that. It's been incredibly insightful for us. Vendors that we're missing, things that we could do better on the phone. Alcohol that you would like for us to serve in the store, on and on and on. It's fun to, and there's things that we know that we can do better, and there's call outs, and we go, okay, we have to address this, and it's insightful for sure. It makes us better.
So are you using, what kind of survey tool are you using? Do you have like a CRM, a database, or is this email-based?
We use, that's a very good question. I actually don't think I can answer it intelligently because our marketing coordinator does it. So I could find out, but I do not have an intelligent answer behind that.
Okay, no worries. I was just curious because I know a lot of stores have if they have email addresses, they keep them in their email address book and aren't necessarily, using more of a full CRM kind of system. So I didn't know if you guys were, on board with something like that? Or
we use we use in our point of sale system and back end and reporting system, we have CRM there. And so
awesome.
that survey goes out to everybody that we have an email for.
Cool.
And then, whoever decides to answer it, we used to mail them out, but mail is not a thing anymore. So
I don't know. I'm a big believer in snail mail. I like getting a letter.
No, but we're like, nobody's going to send it back. And all you have to do is hit submit. But we used to mail them out. We used to mail them out too. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. So you've done them for a long time then.
We have, and it's been pretty inconsistent, but we're going to try to do them yearly now so that we can just adjust and hear people out and, know what we need to do to be in business for 40 more years.
I want to be a little data geek fly on the wall when you do your analysis year over year, because you've got to have, if you've been doing them, you've got to have some fascinating data.
Well, I don't know if it'd be useful, and she can help you with that.
Okay. She might outsource her data analysis to me. Love it.
Yeah. Come on, let's do one together. It'd be fun.
Oh my gosh. Well, so what other kind of technology do you guys rely on to either, run your business or communicate with customers?
Sure. We use an app called One Shop. And it was founded by a young man named Nick McHenry. And he is wonderful, but basically everything that you have in your point of sale system, you have on your phone, and you can go through and, if you're working with Dave Smith, you can type him in, pull up his history, look and see what he's bought, email him from the app. You can actually, if we're having a Cucinelli trunk show, I keep using Cucinelli, but let's use Xenia. If we're having a Xenia trunk show, you can filter through, every customer that's bought Xenia from you over the last 5 years, and you can blast it out from the app. We're having a Xenia trunk show. We look forward to seeing you, on and on. So that tool has been tremendously helpful. There's tailor shop alteration follow-up, lots of different things that we can do to just stay in front of our customers and make sure that our follow-up is really, really good. Because if you drop the ball on any kind of follow-up, you basically lose your customer. So we try our best to do that.
Can we give him a little plug and maybe put his link in the notes?
I would love to.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
He's wonderful. Yeah. It's a wonderful app. Their service is wonderful. And it's just been tremendous for us.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Love to hear these new treasures of operations. Because technology has a lot of promises, but until you start to execute it, you don't really know what's going to work for you. This sounds like it's phenomenal.
It is. For sure.
Cool. So how about, what does a great season look like for you? Or a great day? We can look at a great day.
That is a great question. You want to do day or season?
Your call, whatever.
Let's do season, but specifically, what do you want to talk about? Merchandise and what sells? Do you want to talk about people?
Yes.
All of it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, last fall we actually had a phenomenal season last fall, and we've just been so blessed. We've had just a great year so far, but we had just a crazy record December. And it was all just this leading up to December, but, just starting out the season, September 1 is kind of go time, right after Labor Day. All the new fall is in, the weather's kind of changing here in Colorado, and it's my personal favorite season is fall. So, I love all the merchandise that's coming in. I love all the fabrications and the heavier, weight of clothing and the sweaters and just the luxurious cashmere and everything that we have coming in the store. So it's all locked and loaded, and we just have crazy Saturdays. Our Saturdays make up about 36% of our business. So, Saturdays are game days for us. So, phenomenal Saturdays all season long, great trunk shows, great made to measure shows with our vendors. in-store events that we love. In fact, this season we're having a really fun event with, we are home of the National Western Stock Show in Denver. And so we're having a fun event with cowboy hat making and boots and a couple of our other vendors that we do business with. But anyway, there's just fun events, energy, people just coming into the store, hustling and bustling, and just teamwork on an all-time high. I mean, clearly I love it because it's just like, that's the best piece of it all, is just nobody eats lunch, but not because we're not making.
You don't have time.
There's no time.
Yeah.
And just, you're tired at the end of the day, don't want to talk to anybody. And if that just happens all season long, we're all so happy because it's just the best. It's the best.
Yeah.
And you can make people happy, even if they don't buy anything, to come in the store and just enjoy just being with other people, community.
So that happened last year. What do you attribute that to? Was it the way you bought? Was it did you bring in different brands? Did you merchandise differently? I mean, it sounds like trunk shows were a big part of it. If you're going to do some of those again,
made to measure was a huge part of it. That really kind of rocket launched the business because we had wonderful made to measure shows, but we also everybody blocked and tackled. We made sure that we knew that everybody was in it together. And if there were shirts to be folded, we needed to fold the shirts. And if there were
teamwork,
we just knew what needed to happen. And it's been interesting because as times have changed in retail, and sort of since my dad and Craig's era, we've changed the culture a lot. And I think changing our culture here in the store has helped really propel the business, because it's not just this like, how may I help you kind of store anymore. It's like, what can I do for you? How are you doing today? And we do that with each other as a team, which helps a lot. So I do think that's a lot of it. I think it was a lot of great teamwork. Made to measure was great. We had, pretty good buys, and people just wanted to come in and spend money here. And we're so blessed.
That's actually a really big pivot, to go from the how can I help you service mindset to the, what do you think about this? How can I get you that collaboration with your customer mindset? That's a big deal.
It is. Yes. And we're a commission sales floor. And so we've had to take some of our kind of metrics that we measure with our team and say, okay, rather than you getting an extra half a point of commission, we're going to take the entire team and we're going to watch you all year long on your teamwork. And that's how we're going to compensate you.
Right.
It not
becomes part of their,
it's part of it. It's part of it.
Yeah.
So it's become a really important piece of our business and our culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you get everybody on board with that? Was there a pushback? Were there?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, culture is a very, very hard ship to turn around, particularly when you have people who have been here for, 10, 15, 20, 25 years. I will tell you that the one thing that we did do that was really fun is we started a book club, and the first book we read was The Energy Bus by John Gordon, and everybody read it. And the overarching concept is, if you're not on the bus going in the right direction, then you should probably get off and get on.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go.
And it's a really fun book. It's kind of cheesy, but I think I would highly recommend it for anybody. It's a great way to basically help people reflect on, kind of like look inside and think about who they are and what they want out of their lives and their career.
Yeah. Well, you're serving them and also trying to get them to decide whether or not they want to come forward with you. I mean, I think that sounds really healthy. Yeah. What was the name of the book again? We'll give it a little plug.
The Energy Bus by John Gordon. I wish I had one.
Okay.
I could show it to you, but
That's all right. We'll find it. We'll drop it in the notes
yes.
too. Yeah. So you use books, and is this a monthly book club?
We've been, to be honest with you, we've been somewhat inconsistent about it. We're reading Unreasonable Hospitality now, but very spotty because it's summer and on, and we've been busy. But yes, so it's I would say we try and give people enough time. So it's every like 3 months. Energy Bus was very short. This Unreasonable Hospitality is a little bit longer. So yeah, we're just trying to be reasonable about it all because, it's some people don't like to read, but it really does help. It helps like sharpen your skills on so many different levels. And it helps you understand teamwork. And it's just, we have these discussions during the books, and we have Friday meetings every Friday we have for years, and we've turned them into our discussion time around books and the books we're reading. It's really fun.
Well, it gives you guys a point of reference outside of what you do every day too, that's in common regardless of generation or gender or whatever else, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's a great idea, but I'm a reader. So, yeah.
Well, I just gave you 2 books to read.
Yeah, no, I'm on it. I'm on it. Well, Lindsay, did you always know that you were going to do this? Did you always know you were going to take over the business? I'm saying take over because, and maybe you wouldn't describe it that way. I'm describing it that way.
I mean, I basically am, but
okay.
I don't know. I've always loved brand names. I've always loved, really nice things, and I haven't always been able to have them. So it's been, not that I can have them all now either, but I've always really liked fashion. I've liked just our business in general. And so I don't think I really knew. I think, I graduated college and I got hired to be a financial analyst, and they were paying me $65,000 a year. And I thought I was the richest person on the planet because, in the fashion industry, they don't pay you that much when you first start out.
See, you love data too. Financial analyst, you have to love
and
data.
I took this test and they hired me. And
awesome.
I was like, okay, I'm going to go do that because that's what I'm supposed to do. And anyway, I had a different path, but I think I always knew. I didn't know that I would love it as much as I do. But I think I always kind of had an inclination that I would join for sure.
Which part do you love best?
Oh, that's a hard question. I love buying. That's my number one love. That's how I started here. So buying is, huge top 3. Our vendor community is extremely important to me personally. I just love the people in our vendor community, and I love buying from the people that work in our vendor community. It's really special. And I just love our people. I love people. I do. And we have special ones, and I'm so blessed to have special people in our lives. So I think that's it. That's the whole business, right? Clothing, vendors, and people. So I guess I love it all.
Those are the 2 critical things. You get those 2 things wrong, your people and your buy, and you're done, right? So it's not like you chose something easy to love.
That's true. And, we're not perfect as buyers. That's for sure. That's why we have sales.
We are at the whim of the customer too. So
yes, we are.
Yes. Well, and so what do you maybe not appreciate so much about what you do?
Oh,
I don't want to say hate, but
no, I like not appreciate. That's very above board. I hate down cycles. They're so hard.
Okay.
So hard. I hate them. It's just like,
fair.
Yeah. They're just hard, but I think it's special because you in your vendor community and within your team, who's in the trenches with you and who's not. So I think there's a light to the down cycles, but the down cycles are always the hardest for anyone, for any industry. But yeah. Those aren't my favorite.
Yeah. No, they force a lot of decisions that you don't have to make in up cycles.
Yeah.
So.
And you never want to do it. You know they're inevitable, but you have to face them, and you got to just run into the storm rather than run out of it and then run away from it, and that's just part of it. So but I'd say that's my least favorite part. And I hate disappointing customers. That's the other thing that I
Yeah,
hate.
that's a big one for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you make your transition from financial analyst, owning the world and being able to buy for anything because you thought you were making so much money, to, probably not starting at the top
No.
at the store?
No.
How'd you do that?
Well, we have, thank you to our dear friends, the Mitchells. We have a 5-year out policy. So we have a family employment policy, and we have to work outside of the business for 5+ years in a related field, get 2 promotions within each job we hold, and then we have to be invited back into the business at an entry level. So if anybody wants, my kids, whoever want to ever join the business, it's the same policy for them as it was for, me and my brother and sister and Craig's kids. And so I did that. And then I worked in the wholesale side, and I worked in the retail side, and then I worked for Nordstrom for a little while. And then I was invited back into the business in 2007. And I actually started at our women's store. We had a women's store at the time. And that's where I got started. And I've been here ever since.
Oh my gosh. So I want to come back to the women's store, but this is cool. So you got the model from another independent store,
Yes.
Mitchell's, right? We're talking about the store Mitchell's. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they're renowned, I think, in independent retail.
They're amazing.
Yeah. So whoever set that up is clearly learning from others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the history there, and I wouldn't want to speak for them, but they were kind enough to share it with us, and we implemented it, even before I decided to join the business. It was implemented, and we have them to thank for it, because I don't think we would have what we have today without it.
Well, that had to give you a ton of credibility walking in, because you didn't just walk in with the name.
Great. Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I'll always be the boss's daughter, which I've worked really hard to rid myself of that reputation. But it does, because you're not just, you know the industry, a little, you certainly don't know the company that, you're coming into, our company or whoever's, but you have enough under your belt to really understand the ins and outs of it. And you've worked for it and you've earned it, rather than being like, here you go, here's your new CFO, and it's a family member. So yes, I think it helps with the cultural stigma of being the, daughter or son of an owner.
Yeah. Well, and it helps what you've built, what you and your, family have built, to go on for the next generation, and the next and the next, right? Because usually by 3rd generation, stores and fortunes and whatever else are gone, right? Because the 3rd generation just kind of walked into it. But you've set up you've systematized learning in order to run the business. That's amazing.
And that wasn't, that, like I said, the Mitchells deserve all the credit. And then we went ahead and tweaked some things for us. And hopefully, we'll have others that want to join the business someday.
That's great. Yeah, hopefully so. And do you do a lot of other peer learning, sharing with other stores?
Yeah, so we're very, very fortunate to be part of the Forum Group, which is there's 12 of us now who are in the group that are all over the country. And we have just this special relationship with every one of these stores. We can call them for any advice. We can, if we need anything, we can call them. If we have just a VIP or emergency merchandise request, they're wonderful. I think my dad and Craig can talk a lot more about sort of, 9/11 and what happened with that and how
Oh
the
gosh,
group was
yeah.
integral in kind of helping us through that. And COVID, we had
I was going to say you were right in the middle of
we
COVID,
yes,
though.
we were, yeah, COVID was in 08 and 09 I was here.
Oh
But I
yeah,
wasn't, I was selling on the floor, so I wasn't really involved. But this group is phenomenal. Um, we wouldn't be who we are without this group. And we are more than peers, we're family. Um, and I could call anybody at any time for anything, and they would be there. And I hope that they feel the same way about us and me. It's very special, and it's something that if anyone in any industry wants to have, it's probably it's the top five most important things that we have in our business. Is the group, the
that's
forum group.
great. Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. I want to come back to, you mentioned a couple times having a women's
Yes.
store, and just a small one, and then you don't have it anymore. What was that decision like? And
I wasn't involved when so there was a women's store that was just on the opposite corner of where we are in Cherry Creek North, and my dad and Craig decided that they wanted to get in the women's business, and so they acquired the store from the owner, the then owner. His name was Dick Hour, and the company was called Hours, and they had a women's and bridal, and it was just a really fun experiment, and there were some good times, but what we learned from all of it, and things sort of started to compress in 08 and 09, and we just sort of decided, let's stick to what we know.
yeah,
We were never women's retailers. My dad keeps thinking that maybe we should go and do women's again. And I just remember closing the store because I was working on the sales floor, and, just not
right.
a fun feeling, but, growth strategies are that's part of a growth strategy. And
Yeah.
anyway, so it was really fun. It was a good time. Very high end, Oscar de la Renta, Carolina Herrera, Michael
Cool.
Kors, and then we had bridal and shoes and handbags and all that stuff. It was a fun
Amazing.
moment in time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Women are such a different customer
Yes.
from your core customer. They buy differently. They look at things differently. Colors. I mean, yeah, all of it.
Yes, and they like to shop around, whereas our customer is extremely loyal. If they can get, their comforters here, they would, they just, that's so we try to make sure we have everything that they might need. So, yeah.
Well, that's a good seg to the next question I have about future. What do you see in the next 2 to 3 years, and are you preparing for it now? I mean, is comforter sales, are those out?
Yep, I'm gonna get into the bed linen business.
Yeah, no, the question really is more about what kind of change do you see, 2 or 3 years out from now? Are you kind of planning for something to change or evolve that you're having to prepare for right now?
It's a really good question. We have 3, 5, 7, 10-year goals for the
Wow,
company.
okay. That's already something.
Yes. Growth is one of those. What it looks like, I don't know. But definitely growth, growth in scale, growth in maybe another unit. I mean, we don't know. I do think we'll go through a little bit of a contraction here in the next 18 months. I don't think it'll be significant at all, but I do think, we've had several years of really, really healthy, good business, I think, across the men's world. So I do, I don't have a reason why. I just think, every few years you do see a little correction in the industry. And I believe that we probably are due for that at some point. So, planning for that, planning for, we have some people who have been here for a long, long time, kind of, what is their plan? How are we going to fill the gaps when they are gone? Hiring great people who want to come in and be part of our store and be here for a long, long time. That's a big focus of ours right now. We just we have a new landlord in our building. And so they have some plans that we have agreed to be a part of. So that's exciting. So we have,
Oh, cool.
it's not in the near term, but that's like 7 years from now. So,
Okay.
lots of really cool things. I'm always looking for new brands. I'm always looking to, add a new shop here and there if I can. I'd love to have somebody else come in and, help us kind of grow in a way that we wouldn't think of, like online. We have an online presence, but we don't really utilize it like we should. So, yes, I could go on and on about my dream.
Yeah. Well, that's important. I think staff succession is a really interesting point too, especially for men's stores, and if you've had staff for decades.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very hard in retail to hire great dynamic sellers for sales floor. It's just, It's kind of a lost art. And so that's why we look in restaurants. That's why we look in, hospitality industry of any kind, because they seem to really do well here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that relationship-based thing again. Yeah. So one more question for you. Why does Main Street matter?
That is a good question. I need you to give me a little more context.
I will. So when I say Main Street, I'm talking about independent retail, right?
Okay.
So that's what I mean by Main Street. Oh. So why does Main Street matter?
Oh, Main Street matters so much. Main Street matters because there is so much soul in what we do. And, specialty retail is full of soul and heart. And you just don't get that experience anywhere else. I mean, if you go to a specialty store that sells dishes, that's family owned for 30 years, and you find that out, you're like, wow, this is where I want to stop.
True.
There's a heart and soul of specialty retail that is unlike anything that you can describe to anyone unless you go in and you find out their story and you start shopping there. That's it. That's why Main Street matters. Street matters because there's just soul in our business, heart and soul in our business that no one else can understand except for us, because we're crazy enough to work in it.
Oh, I love that word, soul. Oh, you gave me a gift.
Oh, there you go. It's the only gift I could give today, Teresa, but there you go.
No, you gave us a gift for being on. Thank you so much. We're going to wrap up right now, but I appreciate your time so much, Lindsay.
Thank you. And I'm honored to be on, and thank you for thinking of me. I'm honored. So thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to Main Street Matters. I hope you found today's episode insightful and inspiring. I'd love it if you would share Main Street Matters with fellow retail owners or anyone else who loves Main Street. And please subscribe so you know when the next episode drops.